Welcome to the Corona Aster Alchemy community. It's so good to have you here, and welcome to anyone new. Welcome back to all my friends. And I have today a very Western astrology update for the most part. And this one is on communication, relationships, and the sound of silence. And so I really want to talk about communication and so we're going to dive into a lot on Mercury. And Mercury is retrograde. I apologize for my last video. It's just so funny with energy because you can act too fast around the time last week when I was creating my video for and I was, talking about how there was Mercury stationing, and I did not double check that. What Mercury was doing was it was coming out of Virgo and into Leo. And yeah, just coming into that fiery sign of Leo, just anyway, my Mercury is in Leo, and little snafu there. I sent out an email to you with my old subject line. It was just not like me at all. So, but Mercury retrograde has a lot of good things. I know we tend to think about the things that we don't like about it, which it's good to be aware of, all the lower octave and higher octave energies. But this is a good time to be revising and to look at even a little bit of a life review, or if you're a business owner, reviewing how things are going and really taking a little bit of time to slow down. So it can be a really beautiful opportunity to understand where we've been, where we made progress this year. We're a little over halfway through the year now, if you're looking at it from January standpoint. And so that's always something to think about. And then we can get more organized during this time. And so, yeah, and I think most people know all the other things about Mercury retrograde, but um, so Mercury is in Leo, like I mentioned now, and so it has a really great desire to want to express itself and to really get creative. And so there is going to be a focus more on your creative pursuits. And even if for some reason you're not feeling that, I would encourage you to definitely look into that to assist you at this time, as well as because Leo rules the heart and it's about love. Then we are going to have a focus on love and our authenticity, and so really just expressing the authenticity and opening up to love. So really doing anything that helps open up your heart chakra. Maybe it's some yoga, some gentle yoga, or maybe there's some intimate conversations that you could be having. And I'm going to definitely be talking more about that in a little bit. And then there's some really lovely trines that we're having. So I'm filming this on the 22nd, and we are tomorrow, the 23rd, there's a trine to Chiron in Aries. And Chiron is allowing us to look at those old traumas again. And so this is just going to allow us to think about and prepare for more ways that we can do some deeper healing. And so we may have some processing around that. It should not be heavy energy, but it will just be a way of maybe bringing in a little bit greater self-discovery. So that's very exciting. And then we have also a sextile with Mars and Gemini the day after on the August 24th. This will bring in more ability for our planning, for communication. It's going to be good for business. And again, just lots of quick movement and thinking. So it'll allow us not to overthink, though, with that sextile. The Mars and Gemini does want us to act and think a little bit quickly, but with this sextile to Mercury, we can have less of that overthinking, which we've probably been a little bit stuck in. So this will be really nice to slow that down. And I want to go into a little bit on the North Node and the South Node too, because I am wanting to share about, again, communication and relationships. And so last year, a whole year ago, over a year ago in July, I think around the 13th of July of 2023, we had the North Node and the South Node move into new signs. And so we've been in this energy for a while, and great. We get 18 months of these the nodal axis energies, and of course it affects each of us a little bit differently depending on where our nodes are at, as all of these things do and will. But overall, the North Node in Aries, we're really going to see this a lot collectively. So you can really see this in the outer world, but especially as you are reviewing your life and or the greater collective, and how things and people are growing in different ways. With the North Node in Aries, we can see that there has been a little bit more of a tendency for people wanting to take bold action, to be more energetic and ambitious, and to really have more of a focus on the self and our individuality. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes we need to get more clear on ourselves. And so this is really a really good time of self-discovery and, um, just again, really finding ourselves. And it could also be about leadership a little bit. Maybe you're not feeling like you're so much a leader, but you could be in different capacities, even maybe just more in the home or something. But this is allowing us to know ourselves again, just on a more internal level. And we have then the South Node in Libra. And so the South Node is about what we're able to leave behind. And so it's about what we're releasing. And with the South Node being in Libra, Libra is about partnerships and relationships and balance and fairness and justice. And so what we're letting go of are ways that we compromise ourselves too much, where we are really people pleasing, and we are just doing ourselves a disservice. And so, a lot of people are having relationships shift in and out of their life over the last year, and will continue to over the next 6 months, because this nodal axis will continue here until January 11th of 2025. And so this is just an opportunity to, again, just get into better balance within ourselves, and so that we aren't, again, just giving too much or not setting the correct boundaries. And, these are just ways that, we've been out of balance, and it's, time to take our power back in ways that we can, yeah, really be, more sovereign and authentic to ourselves. There's been a lot of themes around authenticity recently. I just came from a couple days ago, I led a full moon circle, and so I talked a lot about that there. And the sun just moved into Virgo, but the sun has been in Leo, as we know, and that is about, our authenticity, as I mentioned with this. Let's see, where was it? Oh yeah, this was the Mercury in Leo as well. So yeah, there is a big focus again, still continuing on authenticity. I love helping people with this as well. And so I do have a program that helps people that I am just getting started, like here in early mid-September. So I am going to be having people get on the wait list for this, but it's called Your Embodied Hero's Journey. And this is, about, yeah, I mean, we're all on our hero's journey, but this one is particularly helping people to come through challenging situations and to really know themselves better, and to work through ways where they're out of balance or out of alignment, and to get into better confidence and to get into a more peaceful place. And so I'm going to be teaching people about your body and mindset and the energies and all these ways that we are affected, and how to get into better balance in those ways through the mind, the body, through energy, knowing about the astrology, and then just also getting to know ourselves better. So we'll learn techniques on conscious communication and boundaries and all of these things. So I'm very excited about this. Stay tuned. I definitely have more to yeah, some classes and some other things, opportunities for you to learn more about this coming up. And I will definitely put some information below, or you can wait for the next video and I'll share more. But like I mentioned, I really want to talk more about conscious communication today. And I feel that there's this big thing in the world that's kind of like, I feel like swallowing us up a little bit. And yeah, I'm kind of chuckling because I'm thinking about the movie, The Never-Ending Story. And there was the nothingness for those of you that have seen that movie. And, the nothingness can take over. And in this day and age where I see it, I mean, I think there is still, it's still very applicable with that movie and us not going towards our, greatest life and greatest version of ourselves, which is really what I love to help people with in my empowerment coaching, which is again in that coaching group that I'm offering and that I'm teaching people, is really to help people to step into their purposeful path. So yeah, I'm all about that. And also, I just feel like there's this silence that is kind of eating us up as people. And so that's why I wanted to kind of introduce these different notions with the topics that we're talking about today with the astrology, because it really is so in tune with when we're in Mercury retrograde. As we know, we can sometimes have these communication issues, we can have communication breakdowns. Sometimes we forget to cross our I's and dot our T's and all of these things. And so we really do want to be more cautious, more careful, and also just be a little bit more forgiving, right? Because sometimes we need to, again, remember, like, I'm not going to take it personally. This is not what that person meant to say. And I know as a sensitive person, I can really struggle with this one. But, just again, like acknowledging that, sometimes other people, have an off day, and just having compassion, and knowing, that also we can say something. And so there's been a couple of things that happened to me since Mercury went retrograde that, were a little bit maybe jolting in the moment. And one morning I woke up and I had this text like first thing, and the person had done a voice to text, and they said like basically the exact opposite of what they were really trying to say, or that's how it came across in the text. And I knew that's not what they meant, but it really, like, reading those words was like hurtful, and it was, even though it was like, okay, I know this isn't what they meant. And so I just, lovingly let them know, like, hey, this really impacted me. And interestingly enough, it was a clash day for me. And so and when I talk about a clash day, I'm talking about it from a Chinese astrology point of view, where we can have these days that are just kind of working against us a little bit, but not necessarily against us. It's really for us. I mean, it can feel against us, but there is sometimes this tension energy where it is going to create change, or is going to cause some disruptions, or can cause some friction, or just unpleasant, uncomfortable situations. And so I already knew that was the energy of the day. I didn't go into it thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a bad day or anything like that. I don't do that, because I've also had some really cool, amazing things happen on those days. Because again, that clash can bring really good change. And so it can bring insight, it can bring opportunities. So I really do try to stay open to that. But it was also helpful for me to recognize that, okay, this is what's happening. And anyway, it was also really a beautiful thing that I was able to speak up and to express myself. And that is something that a lot of people in our culture don't know how to do. Our families of origin mostly don't know how to speak up and ask for their needs and wants in a loving way. You may have come from a family that did, but very few, probably not. I mean, very few people have that experience. And if you have learned how to do it, it's because you have practiced and worked with somebody. And I mean, I am not perfect by any means, but I did do a lot of training back in 2018, 2017, 2018. No, it was 2018 when I got certified as a life coach. And so, yeah, I, really wasn't communicating well with my ex, and it was just, as I share this story often, it was just super embarrassing, and I was very disappointed in myself and ashamed. And yeah, so I mean, I had a lot to learn and unlearn, as most of us do. So I really just want to talk about, yeah, how there's opportunities for us to speak up in a loving way and to say, hey, I know that you didn't mean this, but when you said this, it really hurt me, and this is how it impacts me. And, maybe you could just double check before you send a text. And then, because like, then also when I had just, mentioned like, hey, this was kind of hard. And then, the way that the person responded was like, well, you have to know that my actions, speak louder or whatever. And it just kind of felt like it was like a second, like, blow, like, okay, well, yeah, but like, so it was almost disregarding my feelings in that moment. And I'm like, I'm feeling very vulnerable today, and I just kind of express like, and I just want to be in this beauty way of let us, let us come together and be able to say like, hey, this is hard for me today to hear this, and I know it was a mistake, and yet, um, let's try to do better. And so I'm going to do better, and they can do better. So, I could probably have been less sensitive about it, but I was in a very sensitive space coming out of some very deep medicine work and retreat. And it was just really difficult to come back to that. So, also, on another note with communication, and something that I did that I think was very brave and very North Node and Aries, like, we want to be brave, we want to be bold, but also, like, how can we do this in a loving way? So I had to, think about this one for a while, but before I approached the person. But what happened was essentially there's a person that I work with on a semi-regular basis. It's somebody that I go to see for a service, and I appreciate their service, and I that's why I keep seeing them. However, some months back I went and I just felt like they barely like talked to me. They weren't really looking at me. They weren't smiling at me. I felt like I was like another number, and like I was just there, like they were just, I was just there, and they were wanting to just collect money from me. And it was just like, wow, I didn't feel very good at all. And, maybe that was some kind of a mirror for me to see. I don't feel like I do that with my clients. And who knows? I mean, I maybe somehow I had done that recently to a client, not knowing either. It's hard to say, but it was definitely something where I was like, wow, like this I thought this person, was nice and friendly and kind and cared about me. And I didn't have that feeling at all anymore. And I was like, I just don't know if I can keep working with them. And so I just ended up, letting it sit for a while to think about it. And I was like, I don't need to just stop going to this person. I mean, I can. I mean, there's other people that do this service. I don't have to go to this person. And also, this is an opportunity for me to again use my conscious communication. So I left a voice note, and it just said, hey, I don't know if you knew, like, I don't know if you know or can remember how you were feeling the last day that I saw you, but, this was kind of my experience. And so I explained how I felt, and I said, maybe you were just not feeling well that day or having an off day. I know we can all have that. And I said, I'm not really sure if you want to keep seeing me, if you would like me to be a client. I, so I guess I'm just kind of leaving that open, because I was kind of getting the impression that I that you're not really interested in me continuing to be your client. So if that's not what you intended, I'd love to hear back and let me know. And I just left it like that. And they called or, left me a voice message back, and were like, wow, I didn't realize I had come across that way. I definitely didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. That wasn't my intention. I do enjoy working with you. If you want to keep seeing me, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Just let me know. And we just worked through it like that. And so I got back to them and was like, okay, well, yeah, I probably just misinterpreted some things that day, and that's good to know. But also, it was helpful for me to reflect that back to that person and let them know, like, how we behave with a person that we're with for a while, like that matters, when you aren't really making eye contact, when you're not really engaging in much conversation, when you're not really giving your heart, when you're not really fully present, that's noticeable, and I also recognize that we can have an off day, and that's okay, but I can also speak up about it. So I hope that that helps you to know a way in which you could move forward in something. And Again, I'll be teaching more conscious communication in my Your Embodied Hero's Journey. And I apologize, I'm having a little bit of looks like blips in this video, but hopefully it's going to come across just fine. Good old Mercury retrograde and me needing to restart my computer. But anyway, so I also back to what we're kind of working through with this little trine with um, the Chiron and Aries and Mercury is I am also offering ancestral energy clearings right now through the end of the month. So through the next week. And you can also schedule for later on if you pay for it in advance at 30% off. So these sessions are a really great deal. As people know, I usually have either maybe one sale or no sales a year in with these sorts of things, but I really want to offer people ancestral energy clearings to help them remove painful patterns that are things that are continuing on. And I will put a link below to more information on my actual, website and a little bit more on what the ancestral energy clearings go into so that you know about that. So yeah, definitely check that out. It is a really amazing deal. And of course, I will be again having a class very soon on creating emotional health and resilience for, getting into that Your Embodied Hero's Journey. And there's a wait list, so you can just also just drop me a yes below this video and we can connect, and you can email me or reach out to however you wish, and I can get you also on the wait list. So again, thank you for being here, and let me know what you learned. Give this video a like, please, and definitely share it with somebody else who could benefit. I know we all can really improve our communication, and it really matters. And actually, there's just a couple more things that I wanted to say on communication. Texting. Texting is such a huge problem in this day and age, and we're getting worse and worse a, as a culture at communicating. And I think it's really important for us to level up. And while I know that I'm a high communicator and that not everybody necessarily communicates like me, and I don't think we all have to be as great of a communicator, perhaps. I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just saying that, like, I grew up in a time when we communicated a lot better than a lot of people do nowadays, and that goes actually across generations. So I'm not even, saying there's any one generation group anymore because I see it in every age group. I definitely think in general, I'm a Zennial, that we tend to be a little bit more conscious, but that's not the case for each person. It really depends on more alignments in your astrology, of course, as most things do. And so while some of us may not want to be as big of communicators as others, I think that again, we can improve. And I think it's really important for us to start acknowledging people in text. If somebody texts you something and so if you ask them something and they text you back, acknowledge that with a like. You don't always have to like say, oh yeah, I totally understand you, I get you, I hear you. At least just give it a heart or a thumbs up. I mean, it's not hard to do. Just let them know that you've read it, because otherwise, how do we know? I don't know if people have read my texts otherwise. And a lot of things do get lost. And especially during Mercury retrograde, things get lost in the ethers. We don't know. So let's really like work on that because wow, I mean, I'm going to keep talking about this. I just think that it is huge. And, really, responding more in a timely manner. I think that's something we can all work on too. I don't think that it's that hard to get back to somebody, like usually by the end of the day or the next day at the very latest. I mean, within 24 hours is very reasonable. And I feel like most people do that, but um, also when it's like somebody that's close to you and that you have kids with or that you have to work with closely, give people you can always just say too, or like if you have plans coming up, you can just say like, hey, I'm gonna have to get back to you. If you don't know, just let them know. I don't know right now. I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I know. I'm figuring things out right now. I mean, that's really good, beautiful, conscious communication right there. Like just acknowledging the other person and saying like, hey, I did get your message and I can't answer your question right now because I don't know, or I need time to think about this. And if it's an important thing that really should be a conversation, then like let's try to at the very least leave voice text back and forth and not try to text about it, because I just went through being in a group of where people started texting one another about some things that they were having difficulties with one another. And there just became more and more trauma and misunderstandings. And it was very sad. I'm pretty sure I did another video on this a couple weeks or month back or so. And it was, very sad because, some friendships ended over this. And I think relationships are ending and over things that don't need to. And we really need to work on being like, you know what, like if I'm wanting to end a relationship, there there are ways to do it. And sometimes it is, a gift for those relationships to end. Sometimes there's other reasons that we are okay with letting that go, but at the same time, like not allowing like this really corrosive way of texting and misunderstandings and saying hurtful things and not being clear. And, again, these are when we're having trouble with somebody, we need to come together and talk in person. I mean, if you can't do that, then get on a video so I can see your face, so I can see, like, oh, okay, that person does feel sad. I see their expression in their face. We want to be able to see and know this from another person. So I know I'm on my soapbox here, but this is super important. And I think that this is an answer to the pain and suffering in the world. There are a lot of people that are committing suicide, as we know, and this isn't going to get any better unless we really work on healing relationships and we heal communication. So I feel really strongly about this, and I think we can all do better in some small way. And don't do it for me, do it for yourself. Do it for the people that you love. Do it for the ways that you want to be seen and heard. We all want to be seen and heard at the end of the day. That's what really matters. So thank you for listening. Again, let me know in your comments below what's been helpful for you, what you want to learn more about, and also share again and like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.